All right, so in this video lesson, I'm going to be kind of going over some stocks that I'm looking at this week. This is a pretty important week for the markets as the financials kind of kick off earnings. Should be really interesting. Also, just noting kind of where the major indices are at right now at this point in time. Also makes things interesting as well, but we're going to go off of that later. In this video, kind of just want to go over a stock that I'm watching this week, kind of walk you guys through my whole thought process, why I'm watching, and kind of what I'm looking for. So if we pay attention over here to the screen on the left, this is a weekly time frame of Snow. Those of you who know, this is an kind of a recent stock. Had an IPO back out in October. Super volatile. You guys have seen, just looking at this on a weekly time frame, this thing has had some insane movement. It kind of went from the 240s all the way up to the 400s in a matter of weeks. So this thing is definitely volatile. Ever since then, we had the sell off, kind of a move lower. This thing kind of bounced and it's kind of pulled back and sold off ever since then. In the last, I would say, month or so, maybe even longer, we've kind of found a base and a bottom down in here at these lows. And it seems as if we've gotten some bid in the low 200s to mid 220s. Buyers have really started to step this up, and this has really kind of just been trading sideways. So something that really kind of caught my attention on this trade was the recent price action that we've seen on this stock in the last 2 days. I'm going to kind of walk you through what I've been seeing. So as you see, we come down in here, found some bid here at 205s. Had a pretty decent move up. Ever since then, we've been testing this 240 level, kind of this 234 as well. These are key weekly levels. Obviously, you kind of see on the left side where we kind of got these from. And ever since then, it really can't break out, right? You can kind of see how it tests up here. The stock pulls back. We tested it in here, a few days ago, and what happened, right? The stock pulled back. Now, what's interesting to me is that, we're kind of seeing higher lows on this, right? So you had this move up here, pulled back, and if we kind of look at the recent price action in the last 2 days, we caught some pretty good bid here, right? And this really surprised me a lot, especially if you look at this from, let's see, yeah, I guess hourly chart's fine, but you can just see here, right? As soon as we come in here, we test kind of these levels. The market's just kind of trading sideways. This is sellers coming in, and they're basically supplying their shares to the market, right? As we kind of like to think of trading as a game of tug of war. On one side you have buyers, on the other side you have sellers, and as you kind of trade to different price levels, one of them's gonna, you have buyers here, you got sellers here. One of them's gonna give, right? And at these prices, there's gonna be tend to be more supply than there is demand. That's why markets lose momentum. That's why you have shifts in markets. It could be anything. It could be soybeans. It could be oil. It could be stocks. It could be anything. Really, any asset class in the world. That's kind of how markets move, right? So they move level to level. But regardless, what really caught me off guard was the fact that you had a pretty good reaction of price here in the last couple of days, off of this low. And if I kind of look at this based off of the lows here, you have what I would consider to be a higher low. So we kind of do have a nice little trend going in here, and you can definitely see it better, I think, on a daily time frame as well. You had the move here, kind of trade sideways, pull back. You have a higher low on this, and now we're starting to push through. So for me, you can kind of see, right? I have alerts here at 240. We need to break 240, and we need to break it with strength. That's why I have alerts there. As soon as we can kind of break 240, I think this whole pullback down lower, you're probably going to take out these highs and go higher. So that's kind of a stock that I'm really looking for this week. I think if you break 240, you really have a shot at testing 267. Which if we look at the options chain here, A 20 point move on a stock like Snow, could see some pretty large gains. Just to give you kind of reference, let's look at this. We probably need more strikes. Yeah, I mean, these 240s are most likely what I would play. But yeah, you see these are going 350 by 370. These could easily go to, close to probably $18, $19 a contract. Um, which, that's a huge, that's pretty big gain. So that's just kind of some insight into a trade that I'm looking at. Something to take into consideration right now, just in the current market environment. It's a pretty interesting time, right? So we have earnings season kicking off. I am long Goldman Sachs calls into earnings. I think they're going to do really well. I think the stock has been on a really large move. It's kind of pulled back. We're at a 61.80 fib. If they kill the numbers, I think you might have a shot, pretty good move to the upside. So I'm excited about that. We are kicking off earnings season, so that is interesting. But if you look at the overall market right now, it's tough, right? The S&P is just so overbought right now. I'm bullish the market, but at the same time, it's just so overbought. These things can only go um, so long before they just run out of momentum, right? I mean, this is a pretty exaggerated move. And when the markets are kind of trading this way, it's difficult to be a buyer, right? When I look at stocks like Nvidia, which have had some pretty remarkable moves. I missed that. I missed Tesla as well. Mainly it's because of my concern with the overall indices, but again, this market's been pretty difficult to kind of understand. Again, you look at the Dow has been kind of toppy. It's looking like it's going to sell off, pull back. Same with the Nasdaq. It's just you made all-time highs today. You kind of tested the highs back in February. You're breaking out, but again, a move like that is so large. It's just difficult for these things to really continue before um, they have to pull back eventually, right? Like I said, markets lose momentum. You need new buyers and more thrust to really keep this going. So I wouldn't be surprised if the markets do pull back and sell off um, within the next couple days or so. But that being said, I am watching Snow. This earnings season, should be interesting with financials kicking off. Um, Snow's definitely my top pick that I'll be watching from day to day. It might not be this week; it could be next week. Other stocks, Lulu as well. We've had some nice consolidation and a nice move higher. This could also be good. So kind of an insight, kind of a market update on what I think about equities and just the current state of the markets right now. If you have any questions or any comments or requests, let me know and we'll get that. So thank you. Bye bye.